In Latin, again, we have 5 declensions of nouns, and the 5 declensions are listed here. We already learned the first declension, and now we are going to move on to the second declension. The second declension has exactly the same format as the first declension in its dictionary form. We are always going to be given the nominative, and then the genitive, the gender, and then the definition of the word. And as you can tell from this entry here, we're going to see some different things than with the first declension. When we're looking at the declension of a noun, we're always going to look at that genitive singular form. And the first declension, we use the letters AE to represent the genitive. Well, now we're going to use the letter I to represent the genitive. And nouns that have an I in their genitive form will always be second declension. So now let's take a look at the second declension in detail. The second declension is mainly a masculine declension, and it's going to be identified by the letter O in many of its endings. However, with this one, we are going to see an I and a U also as some of their endings. The second declension will have an ending for both singular and plural for each one of our 5 cases. The endings are different than the first declension, and they are as followed. Us, I, O, O. The plurals, I, orum, is, os, is. These endings work exactly the same as with the first declension, where we take our stem and change the ending to inflect which case we are in. So servus, servi, servo, servum, servo, plural. Servi, servorum, servis, servos, servis. The translations of the words are going to be exactly the same as what we saw with the first declension, where the nominative will be or the, genitive will be of, dative will be to or for, accusative will be or the after the verb, and the ablative will be by or with. These endings are going to work the same for all second declension nouns, and at the bottom we have all second declension nouns where the nominative, genitive, gender, and definition. Notice how the genitive is all the letter I, and for now the gender is all masculine. The nominatives also end with us. And at this point, let's take a look at amicus, which is a male friend. We have the us, I, o ending, plural, I, orum, is, os, is. The translations, exactly the same as what we studied before. Kibus, exactly the same format. Ekuus, horse, exactly the same format. Now there are some nouns in the second declension that do not use the letter us as its ending. Instead we use r for the nominative. And those nouns would be ager, puer, and wir. Notice how they have an r at the end instead of a us. However, their genitive is still the letter I, and their gender is still masculine. These work very similarly, except the us changes to an r, and in some of the nouns, the e will disappear before the r. That will be noted in the genitive singular if that happens. So ager changes to agri, agro, agrum, agro, plural, agri, agrorum, agris, agros, agris. With puer, we simply add the ending, and with wir, we add the ending also. Now let's take a look at a translation in a sentence. For the nominative, ekuus, the horse runs. Us would show us it's our subject, so the horse is doing the action. For our second sentence, we're looking at the genitive, which is equi. Equi dominus clamat, the master of the horse shouts. Looking at the dative, the servus cibum equo dat, in this case, because it's dative, we use to or for. The servant gives food to the horse. Accusative, our direct object, translated after the verb. Puer equum videt, the boy sees the horse. And finally the ablative, equo, which is by or with. We've got vir equo iter facit, the man travels by horse. That's our by or with translation. So to summarize, the second declension is very similar to the first, except it's masculine in gender and is identified by the letter O. We also have different endings for it to reflect the different cases. Us, I, o, o, I, orum, is, os, is. There are some nouns that use r instead of us in the nominative, and those nouns would be puer, wir, and ager. In addition, to identify which declension a noun belongs, we need to identify the dictionary form and look at its genitive singular ending. That I is going to tell us that it is second declension.